you doing, folks? It's your boy Donald One Down. I'm back again to continue our Neil Gaiman book review discussion. We just spoke about the Graveyard Book, which I had positive things to say overall, and now we're going to talk about what some people consider to be Neil Gaiman's best magnum opus book, American Gods. I've wanted to read this for the longest time. It's got high praise across the board. So why don't you guys hear my thoughts on this one?
Tyro Media.
American Gods! Whew, boy, what a long book. And I have to say, for the most part, more than the most part, this was really good. Lived up to the majority of the hype, and obviously I have criticisms, but I want to get into it. Let me start by saying I listened to the 25th anniversary audiobook, which, from what I understand, on the original release, Neil Gaiman had to drop a lot of the chapters. You know how they do in publishing. They cut out a lot of chapters that they want to make it a more concise read. But this time, he put some of those scrap chapters back in, made it a very... Give the people something new to read, some new bits to read. And because this is the audiobook, this is actually a dramatized version with, I think, over 10 voice actors doing different characters, including Neil Gaiman himself. As I told you, he's an audiobook enthusiast, so he's doing a lot of the reading as well. But let's get to the plot. So the plot of American Gods is to do with an ex-con called Shadow. He's actually serving, I believe, 3 years of a 6-year sentence because he was on good behavior. And I think 2 days before he was meant to be released, he's just about happy to go home, happy to be out of prison, just so he can live his nice life. His wife gets killed in a very mysterious car crash. So when he comes out of prison and his wife just died 2 days or a day prior, he's very, very disillusioned. And he's got nothing really going for him. He's just been in prison. He's got no job or anything. He meets this mysterious man called Wednesday. And this Wednesday keeps on propositioning him with a job to be his little wingman, his bodyguard, but he's not really interested. But this Wednesday knows a lot of stuff, pops out of nowhere, just very mysterious guys. He's got this charisma about him. And the longs and shorts of it is, Shadow's got nothing really going for him, so he decides to go with Wednesday. And honestly, that's all I'm going to say about the premise, because that's how the book starts. What follows is, I want to call this an urban legend, mystery, supernatural book. It's hard to label this book down because there's so much going for it. Gods, that's in the title, so you might see some gods, some urban gods in here, and there's so much going on in this book. There's a lot of history in it. There's a lot of science. Well, there's a lot of relevant science in today's society we live in. And you, as the reader, you are kind of that Shadow. As he's protecting this guy Wednesday, there's a lot of weird things going on. He's talking about powers and gods and stuff. And as the thing that really makes this book great is you are Shadow. You are the main character. So as these mysteries are unfolding and you're on this journey protecting Wednesday, and all these crazy things are happening, you are in the driver's seat. You are just like Shadow. You don't really know what's going on, but the book gives so much food for thought. There are so much cutaways in this book to history. This book has these weird segments. People, I know this might be a little bit confusing if you don't know what I'm talking about, but I think the best thing you need to know is this book is an adventure. It's kind of a road trip book, to be honest with you. You are on a road trip for most of the book anyway, and all Shadow meets these people and has these encounters, these very weird supernatural encounters. But let me just tell you something, man. Neil Gaiman is a really good writer, and every interaction through this book, whether it's through Shadow or whether it's Wednesday or whether it's these other plethora of mythical godly characters, is just so engaging. And yeah, I have to say this is a very adult book, by the way. Quite a bit of action, quite a intense violence, intense sex scenes, and I don't know, man. I just really enjoyed it for all the right reasons. It's not a confusing book. I might sound a bit confused, but it's not a confusing book. It's a mysterious book. That's why it's hard for me. I'm trying to not spoil anything. I'm just kind of tiptoeing around it. It's a mysterious adventure book, and as it goes along, as a reader, I just found it very engrossing. He just hit on so many mythological things, religious things, different people, women, men, so many different. I mean, there was segments in this book. A lot of it. There was 1 or 2 segments about gambling and about tricking people. It's just an awesome book. Again, honestly, it's hard for me to get more into the nitty gritty without spoiling it. But let me just say this: I can see why this book resonated with so many people, because there's so many things that it touches on, and the audio performance was fantastic. The guy who did Wednesday's voice, I got to get his name. I'm going to put it on the screen. He was fantastic. He did the majority of it. Now, Neil Gaiman did a lot of the cutaway, flashbacky kind of stuff that hit and miss. Some of those flashback stories that had to do with history and how these gods were in the past, some of them were phenomenal. Like the slavery one. That was so intense. So great. Some of the other ones I didn't care for. But you know what? For the most part, I really did like this book. The only other criticism I have, to wrap this up, is the main character, Shadow himself. In the beginning, he seems very much like a simpleton, a very simple kind of meat and potatoes kind of guy. By the end of the book, he seems so, I don't want to say philosophical, but his character seemed to drastically change at the end. Now, some people would say that that's because the things that happen in the book make his character grow to that level. To me, it just seemed a little bit, I don't want to say forced, but it just seemed off. But it didn't take away from the experience of the book. It just seemed like a completely different character by the end of the book. Not in a negative way, but just in a way it didn't feel 100% natural. That's my only criticism, and maybe something that's nitpicking. But other than that, I think this is a really good book. It's a very long book. I would highly recommend getting the audiobook version. And yeah, I'm going to give this a low first class. Low first class. It's higher than solid B, but I'm going to give it a low first class because there was just little bits here and there that, But again, this was the extended version. Great performance. And, people, let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think American God is the greatest book Neil Gaiman's ever done? I haven't read all of his books. Leave a comment down below if you have another recommendation apart from the Graveyard book. I'm also reading this right now, which I'm not having the best experience with as Neil Gaiman, but I am going to get into his comics as well, so we'll talk about that because my good buddy Kimono Joe recommended to me, I think, Sandman that he did, which everyone says that it's one of his greatest runs in comic books writing. So let's leave it there. People, like, comment and subscribe. If this is your first time to Planet Tyro, thank you for joining. Thanks for watching. Subscribe. I do a lot of reviews on everything, movies, books, anime, everything. But right now, as most people know, I'm under hiatus mode, doing very low budget quick cams because I'm just short for time. But this was a bit of a longer review. It's a long book, people. Check out American Gods. I think you should check it out if you haven't read anything by Neil Gaiman. Make this your first stop. But a lot of people do say this is very different from all the other stuff Neil Gaiman's done. I'm just finding that out now for myself. People, that's about it. Have a nice one, and I'll see you in the next review. Peace out.